Hey there, everybody. Welcome to day 3 of 'Tis the Season, 12 Days of Holiday Scrapping. It's Audrey. Thanks for joining me today. My guest today is Khristina, and she has a lot of scrappy ventures going on, so go check out her channel and her video for today. Before I start my page today, I would just like to show you what my desk looks like typically after I finish a page. So I clean up my desk after every page, so this is just after one page. There's my box of Christmas goodies, and I just wanted to show you what an absolute disaster it is because I go through so many things and I just have things scattered all over. So that's why I have to clean up after each page. This page today also uses a lot of materials. So I went through a whole bunch of pattern papers, and I picked out some pattern papers with really, really busy patterns. And my inspiration for today is I'm using a photo of my kids on Christmas morning, and I was thinking of, presents being wrapped in wrapping paper, and I was thinking all the pretty different, colors and patterns of wrapping paper. So I decided to make little tubes that mimic wrapping paper tubes. And so that's what my inspiration was. I was thinking of wrapping paper tubes. So I have seen, these rolled papers done before on layouts and projects and stuff like that. I have never actually done them myself. So I got a bamboo skewer, and you could use a pen or a pencil or, a paintbrush handle or anything round like that. And I cut some scraps of paper and I tore the edges of the paper because I wanted a torn edge on each of the little rolls. And I just rolled them around the piece of wood and added some liquid glue. I think a liquid or a fast drying glue is really important for this because, you really want to make sure that they are sealed and don't unravel. So that looks like it went fast. That took me, I'm not kidding, about an hour. Between picking out all the pattern papers and rolling them all, it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. But that's the main kind of, the main design element on my page. So I started to add some white gesso, and my brush was dirty, and it had some paint on it left over from another project, obviously. And I started, spreading my gesso, and I was like, oh my God. And so I was able to grab a paper towel, wipe it off. There was still a little bit of color on there though, and I went back later and I added a little bit more white gesso over the top of it. So this piece of pattern paper I'm using for the background is a Teresa Collins piece of paper from Holiday line. I can't remember what it was, but I've had it in my stash for a long time, and I thought it would be pretty to use. And I am going to cover up the top of it with these little rolls. So I am just going to start adding these rolls on. And I'm trying to kind of divide up the colors and just give a nice balance of pinks and greens and reds, and there's a couple that are have a little bit of blue in them. And I'm just going to glue them on in these rows. And some of the rows I start all the way to the right, and then like this row I'm starting all the way to the left because I don't want there to be I just want it to be kind of look random. And I purposely extended some off the edge of the page. I'm going to cut those off, when it's all done. But I didn't want it to be, even lines of these wrapping papers. So I'm purposely scattering them across the page. So I did all that. And there are some spaces that need to be filled. So I went and grabbed a couple just other pieces of I used of the pieces that I trimmed off the edges, I tried to use those to fill in the gaps, but then I had to get a couple more scraps and make a few more tubes and fill in the holes. So here's my photo of the kiddos on Christmas morning before they opened presents, and they were super, super excited. And I grabbed this little stash of die cuts from Heidi Swap. And I gotta tell you, I spent a long time looking for embellishments with presents, and I only found one, and I didn't really like it. And I found this piece of felt embellishments you saw there with the snowman, and one little snowman had this little felt present. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna make my own presents because I could not find a lot of die cuts that had presents on them with the colors that I wanted. So luckily I had some felt in my stash, so I am just going to draw some squares, or not draw, but cut out some squares of felt. And this is just cheapy craft felt. It's not, I know you can buy, fancy felt and a higher quality felt. This is the, how many can you get for $1, 10 for $1, whatever. So it's not high quality. And I'm just hand cutting out these little presents. I mixed and matched the colors, and then I stitched over them with coordinating thread, and they came out super cute. So I'm really happy that I did those and was able to make something that I didn't really have. Out of all that stuff that I showed you I had in the beginning of this video, I did not have anything with presents on it. So there's my embellishments. So I put a star up in the top left of the photo, and I think that helped kind of pop it off the background there. And I repeated with another star down to the bottom right. And I had a third star originally underneath the other corner of the photo, underneath my little cluster here that I'm working on, but I end up taking it out because you don't even really see it anyway. And I spend quite a while playing around with placement of you know, the little presents I made and the little tags. I didn't want to have I didn't want to have too much down at the bottom because I have so much going on at the top. So you know, it takes me a while to figure out exactly you know, where I want to stop here. And I don't stop. I keep going through my stuff and finding things. I'm like, ooh, that like might look nice. That might look nice. I like that celebrate tag. I like how the curve of it, you know, kind of counteracts all of the straighter elements on the page and the squares and the rectangles. But I end up taking it off because it was just too much and really overflowing, just taking up too much space on the page. So I had two other little photos that I had printed to go with this photo, and it's just two shots of the kids opening presents on Christmas morning, because this, you know, the original picture is just them sitting in front of their presents, and I wanted to get some of the action shots of them actually opening their presents, and I played around a little bit with the placement of those as well. I have them here. It looks, when I look at it now, I like it like that, but it doesn't end up like that. And I found a couple other stickers that I want to add and, you know, add some of those to the photo. I really want to use the sticker that says Christmas morning, but I can't find the right spot to put it yet. I tried putting my photos down the bottom, and I actually like the photos on the bottom, so I'm going to leave them down there with the cluster of presents that I did. So I decided, after playing around for a while, that I was happy with what I had. I'm going to add just a soft layer of a mixed media sheet behind my photo just to kind of give it a soft edge. This is a sheet from ThermoWeb, and it's kind of like an interfacing, like a fabric interfacing, and it just gives you a nice soft edge, like I said. So these tubes provide, they're quite high on the page. They stand off, they're thick. So the bottom of the photo is raised off of the background page as well, as high as those tubes are. So I have to, you know, hold it down with my paint, with my gesso bottle there so that it sticks to the tubes. And then I'm going to go back and add some pop dots to the corners underneath the bottom of the photo. And these felt pieces, I ended up adding just a piece of scrap cardstock into the back of the photo too, just to give them a little bit more stiffness because they were a little bit flimsy. So I added some cardstock to the background. Okay, so I'm going to start gluing these tags down. I glued the presents down, and I wanted to add something underneath the photo, a little pattern, nothing too drastic, but just a little pattern because I just felt the tag was kind of plain there, the Oh What Fun tag. So I found a piece of washi tape that I add, and it will not stick on the gesso, so I actually go back. I don't know if I show, but I go back and I glue that piece of washi tape down because you can see it keeps popping up off the gesso there. Oops, I hit my camera. So I have three little clusters of presents, one in the top left of the photo, of course the bottom right photo, and then all the way to the bottom right of the page. I added a couple wood veneer buttons. Those are from Shamil's collection, her Christmas collection. And I add the presents on most of them with glue dots. So I like the way that cluster works after both those clusters are on the photo after playing with them for so long. And I'm just going to arrange this cluster down here in the bottom. I don't think I do too much more. I do add a few splatters here, and I didn't have to put the date on this page because it was already on there with my sticker on top of the photo, the little label that says December 25th. This little tag I'm going to pop up too with some foam squares. And this, to me, was what really made the page. I used some of this red and green twine on my previous page, but I just tied a cute little bow around the tag, and I love how that looks. And I put that on with a glue dot as well. More glue because that thing was still sticking up a little bit. I did have to let it dry. I put my glue or my paint on there and let it dry for a while. So this glimmer mist is an old one. It's called Santa Baby. It's red. It does look a little bloody, but it has a gold shimmer to it. So when it dries, it kind of has like a little gold ring around the edge. But I didn't want it to look too dark red, so I just kind of dabbed some of it off a little bit. And then I went back. I decided I wanted another color too, so I went back with the citron green and added the green in. And I think that does it. And there is the finished page. So this took me a long, long time. I know this video isn't as long, but my placement and my making those felt presents and rolling these tubes just took a really, really long time. But I love the way it looks. I love making handmade embellishments when you can't find exactly what it is that you're looking for. And so yeah, so I'm happy with this texture and these fun products. So thanks so much for stopping by today for day 3. Be sure to check out Khristina's page as well. And I will see you tomorrow for day 4. Stay scrappy, friends.